Hello. Welcome back to Daryl D TV, and I'm back with another Prince bootleg video. Let's get right into it. Now, the record I picked out for this one, this sweet piece of vinyl right here, is simply entitled Live Rarities. This was, to the best of my knowledge, was an after party that Prince did in Paris. This was at a club called New Morning Club in Paris, June 12th, I believe, 1987. And I did a little research on this record, and it turns out there's at least 6 versions of this on vinyl. And I think I own like 3 of them. And it wasn't until just recently that I found out that they were all sort of the same record. This record is all over the place because from the research that I've done, some of the song listings are supposed to be incorrect. The ones chosen for this record are supposed to all be unreleased, at least up until the point that this record came out. The different versions of the vinyl have different pictures on them, and they also supposedly have different variations of the actual songs that were created. So it's kind of hard to tell, at least for me, exactly what's accurate and what's not, and what's on like all of them together. Now there were a lot of CD releases of this too, in various forms in terms of song listings where this show actually happened. So it's crazy. So I'm just gonna take this version, and we'll talk about this one a little bit, but this rabbit hole goes pretty deep when it comes to this particular release, because some of the other vinyl releases also have different titles. I think one is called Sex Machine. I think another one is called You Got the Look. I think another one is called More Sex Machine or something like that. But it's it's kind of confusing, but let's just go with it. So this particular piece, let me see here, says it was released in 1988. So a year, or short of a year, of it being recorded. Now this says on the back it's Butterfly Records, and it says that they're proud to present 6 great unreleased tracks. Promotional copy not for sale. Now the 6 tracks on here, side 1 is Red House, 2 is Sex Machine, side 2, Got My Mojo Working, You're Bad, People Let's Dance, and Just My Imagination. Now, I can tell you right now that listening to this particular release, it just seemed like one long jam session, for the most part. Red House was like very mellow and very smooth. Prince interacts with the crowd a lot on that one, so that was one of the songs I liked more so than some of the other ones. And the second song, what was it? Sex Machine. Sex Machine is 16 minutes and 40 seconds long. You gotta love these extended versions, these extended live versions, when of some of your favorite artists, when they just extend these songs. Now, Sex Machine, obviously a James Brown song. Prince's rendition of it sounds nothing like the original James Brown, so you're not gonna hear any kind of familiar music that you would have heard on a James record. It's definitely up-tempo fast song. It kind of reminds me of Prince America. Remember that song? it kind of reminds me of that song. It has the same like feel to it and whatnot. And because it's almost 17 minutes long, it basically turns into just a long jam session. Um, a lot of just a lot of instrumentation without words, and then of course he gets into interacting with the crowd and the crowd chants and you know, things of that nature. Classic Prince jam session style. You've heard it before, definitely. Whether if it was on a bootleg record or if you've seen him, you know, live in person. But yeah, nice long version there. Then we go over to side B. Got my mojo working. That's definitely a blues type of song. It was like an up tempo, bluesy kind of feel to it. How long was that one? 5.5 minutes on that one. So that one was okay. I didn't care for that one as much as some of the other songs that are on that vinyl. Um, You're Bad, which was what, just under 9 minutes long. This one I really liked. It was like a really funky, rhythmic vibe song. Definitely one of the better songs on here for my taste and whatnot. A lot of strong, funky piano in there. Really, really cool song. Excuse me. And then up next, we have People Let's Dance. That was almost 5.5 minutes. That is a really funky up tempo type of jam on there. Another nice long version of a song. Another type, lot of funky guitar in this song. Definitely one of the better songs on here. And I'm strictly talking about, you know, my personal taste and what I like hearing from Prince more than anything else. So I really enjoyed that song. Now, the last song, Just My Imagination. Yeah, that Just My Imagination. A little over 6 minutes, 6 minutes and 20 seconds long on that song. That is definitely my favorite song on this record. Prince has some of the best slow jams ever. I mean, between Prince and Luther Vandross and Rick James, I personally don't think anybody makes better love songs or slow songs, however you want to call it, than those guys. And so that was my favorite song off of there. He does some interaction with the crowd in there as well. Definitely a solid album. There's some versions that have some versions of this that have a song called Mutiny, supposedly, Housequake, supposedly, and then there was a few other ones. But this was a song listing, and like I said, some of these obviously, you know, you can tell that they are the accurate songs, but because I've pretty much never heard of most of these songs, I mean, we all recognize Sex Machine, we all recognize Just My Imagination, but me personally, I can't honestly say that I recognize any of the other songs. I can't honestly say that I've heard them before this record. If I have, I just don't recall. But these songs, for the most part, or the renditions of these songs, are definitely new to me. Now, let's talk about sound a little bit. You can definitely tell that this was recorded in a nightclub. It was recorded from the audience, and so it definitely has that classic bootleg sound to it. Nothing like some of the modern bootlegs that I've talked about where, you know, it obviously was a recording from the actual board or whatever, and everything sounds like fantastic. This is definitely a crowd, you know, a recording from the crowd, so you get all of the the audience participation and chants and the the applause and all of that kind of stuff. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I personally, and I'm no expert by a long shot, but on a scale of 1 to 10 for bootlegs, I would give it a 8, 7.5, 8 all day. It's definitely one of the better ones as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, live rarities. That's pretty much my description of what that is. Eventually, I will be talking about the other ones. Hopefully, I will remember this one and bring this up. I probably will because I try to do a little bit of research on it. So we'll probably be talking about this one again at some point. But like I said, it's kind of all over the place. Different, I found at least 6 different versions of this on vinyl. There's there's more than that, but there's like 3 or 4 versions of one of them, I think, and they all have different covers too, different pictures, different covers. Every one of them is different. So, like I said, I have at least 3 of them, and if I recall correctly, I believe I got a lot of my Prince bootlegs, and I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before, but there was a record show that used to go on here in town, and there was this one guy, I don't recall what his name was, but he used to drive in from California. Older guy, he drove this big box van, and he specialized in bootleg live concerts. So he had a ton of live shows on VHS tape as well as DVDs. But then he had a lot of bootleg vinyl as well, and he had a crap load of Prince bootleg. I wish I had bought a lot more, but little did I know that it would eventually, shoot up so high in value, after his and also I didn't know that this guy wasn't gonna be around forever, so at some point he just stopped coming over here. Maybe it wasn't worth it. People wasn't really buying, the bootleg live performances on VHS or DVD, especially with YouTube and other, internet outlets like that. So I'm just guessing that because I'm a big fan of bootlegs on VHS tape as well, and DVD, and I have a nice collection of those, but those were like really, really big back in the 90s. So we're talking, I think the last time I saw this guy was probably maybe around 2010, somewhere in there, give or take a few years or whatnot. So man, I wish I had bought a whole lot more. He had a lot of them that were like $10, $12, $15, and I would buy all of them, but then he had, $20 ones and 25 and 30, and I was like, yeah, why buy a $30 bootleg when I can buy a $12 bootleg? That was my mentality. But of course, had I known that it would end abruptly at some point, I would have bought everything all at the same time. Everything he had I would have bought. But anyway, so we're gonna end it there for this one. Have you guys, anybody out there, ever seen this copy? Are you familiar with any of these songs? They're supposed to be unreleased. Do you know if any of these songs were recently released in any form? Red House, Sex Machine, Got My Mojo Working, You're Bad, People Let's Dance, Just My Imagination. And I'm not talking about live version. Have you heard any of these professionally recorded on any of Prince's official releases? Or was this just all, just from this concert and that's it? Let me know if you have any information about that, all right? Thank you guys for hanging out with me. That's going to do it for right now. This is Daryl D. We'll see you next time on our next Prince bootleg video. Peace.